Hey folks, it's Jeremy, the host of Blammo. Thanks so much for listening. This is a preview of one of our exclusive shows on Patreon. These are member-supported shows, meaning they only happen because of our incredible members and community. So check out a preview of the episode, and if you like it, consider joining us on Patreon at patreon.com/Blammo, where we have tons of exclusive Blammo episodes, shows, our amazing Slack group, and we're adding new things for members all the time. If not, no worries, we still love you, and we literally have hundreds of episodes of Blammo all free for you to dive into. Thanks so much.
Hey, Derek. How you doing?
Hey, Peter. It's great to see you again.
It's good to see you, too. What's happening? You've been waging war on Twitter recently.
Always people getting mad at me.
Can't imagine why.
You know, the funny thing is that I call my mom every Sunday night.
Oh, you're a good boy.
And my mom's really into celebrity.
Is he?
She's really into it. I mean, ever since I've known her and grown up, she's like into Princess Diana and like King Charles and, oh, this famous author. Like, it doesn't really matter who the person is. It's just that they're like famous, you know?
And she's all into it.
She gets, I don't know, she's just really into celebrity. So,
Okay.
So since my Twitter has blown up, sometimes I get like famous people who tweet at me. So I update her, and that makes her really happy. And sometimes it's people who are really angry at me. So I told her about how Roger Stone got angry at me. She got really excited about that.
She knows Roger Stone?
From the news, yeah, because he was all in the news for a while about being the Trump administration and all that.
That's true.
But then the recent one is, I feel bad, and this is not a slight to him. I genuinely do not mean this as an insult. I just know his first name, Ben, and I only know him as Meghan McCain's husband.
Meghan McCain is the late McCain's daughter.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So that is my news story I'm going to share with my mom. She will not know this Ben character. He's apparently like really big in political circles.
Okay.
But she knows who Meghan McCain is. And so that will get her happy. But yeah, I guess he was really upset at me. And
For what?
I don't, people get really angry at me on Twitter. I mean, I guess because, I post photos of like Matt Gaetz and all that. I did make a joke about how Matt Gaetz was recently going to be appointed. I guess since I've just said this, listeners will know when this was recorded. But I made a joke about how Matt Gaetz was going to be appointed to Attorney General. And then I made a joke. I was like, oh, I'm going to jail. And then
he's going to come after
I
you.
use his photos all the time of like, this is an ugly outfit. And then it turns out he's not being appointed to Attorney General. It's now Pam Bondi, but he stepped down. But in that whole thing, I noticed that Matt Gaetz' wife follows me. And I was like,
Really?
that's weird and awkward.
See, he's been telling you everything that I've been trying to tell you for years. And now you're
That
being
was
made
so-
fun of on the public internet.
And the funny thing is that like sometimes I'll see like someone really another famous person followed me. And this is something I would share with my mom, but she's not into this kind of celebrity. But Darren Acemoglu, who recently won the Nobel Prize in economics, an economist that I've been reading for decades and I've admired for decades. When he won the Nobel Prize, I went to his page to see if he had said anything about it. And I saw that he follows me. I was like,
No
that's
way.
crazy.
That's awesome.
But it's weird. Those two, Ginger Gates and Darren Acemoglu, I was surprised by those because sometimes someone will follow me and they have like 6,000. They're following like 6,000 people, and I'm like, oh, okay, well,
You're
whatever.
one of 6,000.
Yeah. But those people it's like in the, I don't know, it's like around 500 or 600. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that these
You've made it into their inner circle of Twitter friends.
So I was like, man, maybe I can like message his wife and get him to size up on his suits. Like, can you tell your husband to buy one size up? He should like identify as a size 50 euro and not a size 36.
I keep telling him he's no longer 14.
Yeah.
He's a grown man.
So anyway, but yeah, I guess because of that, because I often point out Matt Gaetz or Jordan Peterson or something, people get angry. Our most commented Instagram post on the Blammo page is the time that I mentioned Jordan Peterson. Like bunch of people commented. And then the recent Instagram post with me saying that you don't have to care what hip New Yorkers wear, a bunch of people chimed in on that. But
They sure
otherwise,
did.
people they don't tend to comment unless there's those kind of takes.
We need to Be the lightning rod that gets people talking about whether or not it's in style to wear shoes that have been around for 70 years or more.
Yeah.
Or if you should show the hateful V of your shirt underneath the button. That's, I don't know. I thought that was a given, but I guess it's, we are the bears.
Yeah.
Derek.
But it is a joyful season. It's the holiday season. And so, despite the hate that I get sometimes on Twitter, it should be a joyful season. We're here to talk about how to dress for the holidays.
Yeah, this is a fun time. This is a great excuse if you've always wanted one. You don't have to have one, but if you've always wanted a proper excuse to dress a little fun, this is the perfect time for it.
Yeah. I mean, if there's ever a time to dress up, it's the holidays.
Do you have a festive outfit? I don't think I've ever seen you in a festive outfit.
No, I'm not a very festive person. So like today I'm wearing almost all black and gray and charcoal. So this is as emotionally outpouring as I get. But there are certain clothes that I associate with the holidays that I wear, normally. But first, I think we should talk about how should one travel? How should one dress for travel? Because this is always like a really hot topic online.
People are going to be flying to see family for either a couple of days or for weeks at a time.
Yeah. So how do you feel? What are some of your views on dressing for travel?
So when it comes to dressing for travel, I'm of two minds. So there's dressing for when I travel for fashion events, and that's obscene. It's sometimes 2 full-size luggage, plus 2 carry-ons, plus a duffel, plus a camel. It's just ridiculous. And then there's dressing for travel, and that's much more minimal. The last time my wife and I went to overseas, we went to Ireland, and we both just had a carry-on. That was it. And a lot of underwear. Make sure that you have a lot of underwear and things that you don't have to worry about, like socks. You don't want to be looking for socks. They pack small. Same thing with underwear. So you can go kind of crazy with that. But it depends on where you're traveling, the reason for your travel. So if you're traveling for the holidays, see what events are going to be happening. You're going to have a Thanksgiving dinner. You're going to be around for Christmas. You're going to a destination holiday. Are you going to go back home or are you going to go someplace warm? All those things are depending on what your activities are and how long you get to be there for.
Do you think it's a good idea to travel with a tailored jacket?
You absolutely can. Yeah. If you do, I would get something in a casual fabric because if it does wrinkle, no one's really going to care. However, if you do need to dress up, then I recommend getting a navy sport coat in a worsted fabric, specifically the ones that your pants are made of, a 4-ply, which travels really, really well. I've traveled, just to put things in perspective, I've traveled on a plane in a suit made of Draper's 4-ply, and then overnight landed in New York from San Francisco, then immediately got on the train to get to Penn Station to then go to Philadelphia. So total travel time was probably close to 24 hours. And the suit looked fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you are going to travel and you don't want to worry about wrinkles, or you're going to a place that requires you to be well pressed, then I would strongly consider a high twist, 2, preferably 4-ply, but it depends on the season. 2 or 4.
It's the holidays, so you're going to want to have your fabric.
Yeah.
A 2-ply tropical wool is going to leave you freezing in certain climates.
Yeah. So if you're traveling to a place that you know is going to be cold, then definitely go 4-ply. On a tangent, real quick, I was going to get something in 6-ply, and I was talked out of it by the guys at Assisi. They said every suit that they've made in 6-ply, the fabric is so heavy that it actually lengthens. Yeah. So pants lengthen, suits lengthen, sleeves lengthen. I personally don't have any experience with 6-ply, so I can't speak of it, but they have more than I do. So that's something to consider. 4-ply, though, is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to travel with a 4-ply tropical wool because it's winter. So depending on where you're going, that if you're traveling within California, then a tropical wool 4-ply is totally fine. But if you're going somewhere cold, you probably want something like a tweed, which probably is still not going to wrinkle.
You
like
can
tweed
get
jacket.
Yeah, you can get a loosely woven tweed. Is that a Shetland that you're wearing?
Yeah, it's a fox tweed.
Yeah. a loosely woven tweed such as Shetland won't wrinkle. It will look fantastically rumpled.
Right.
And the canvas should hold it together pretty well.
Right.
And if you wear it on the plane, you're set.
That's my view. Is sometimes I get questions of how do you travel with a tailored jacket? How do you get the wrinkles out? Because my view is that you should not use steamers. Well, it kind of depends. If you have a very high quality tailored jacket that has a lot of shape pressed into it, then you do not want to use a steamer because you're going to
you risk ruining the shape.
You lose all the shape. And then if you have a really low end garment, like a really cheap fused garment, then you can possibly, not always, but possibly delaminate the fusing. And then people say, well, then how do you get the wrinkles out? And my view is, I feel bad for saying this, but you got to buy higher quality garments. If you buy, as you noted, a 4-ply suit, or if you buy a tweed jacket, or if you buy even like a mock lino or something.
Loosely woven mock lino is perfect.
If you hang it for overnight, the wrinkles will relatively fall out. I've never seen wrinkles stay in those fabrics. So I don't think they'd even set. So left overnight, they'll naturally fall out. I personally would not put it in a steamy bathroom. But for a tailored jacket, I think it's a good idea to travel with a tailored jacket during the holidays, because sometimes you need to look just a little bit more polished.
What would you carry with you?
Since we're talking about the holidays, I would do a tweed.
A tweed, nice.
And that's something that you can just wear on the plane.
Yeah, easily.
It ends up being, if you're getting custom jackets made, I think for that reason, sometimes it's a good idea to have certain sport coats made with a zippered pocket instead of just an open in-breast pocket.
Nice, that's a good idea.
As many people know, you have your in-breast pocket, which is obviously the pockets inside, and then you have your out-breast pocket. In-breast pockets, or almost all pockets on a jacket, are left open. Sometimes they have a button. But for me, I feel that when you're traveling, sometimes you're running through the airport, you have your passport, you have possibly like a money clip, you might have pens.
Last thing you want to do is have something fall out.
Oh yeah, like that to me is just really stressful. And then sometimes like I'm not always wearing the jacket. I might take it off. I might have it slung over my luggage.
Right.
And then if you're running through the airport trying to catch a flight, you don't want anything to fall out. You don't even want that in your head.
Right.
So sometimes I think if you're getting clothes made, it's a good idea to ask for 1 or 2 jackets that you can travel in, either for spring, summer, and then fall, winter, and then have those jackets for the in-breast pockets to be made with maybe an extra, you also might ask for extra pockets, but have at least 1 or 2 of those pockets be built with a zipper. A dry cleaner is not going to have any problem with a zipper any more than they would have problems cleaning like
a zipper
trousers
on your pants. Yeah.
So I think it's a nice detail, but I would travel with a tailored jacket. That's something that you can wear with chinos and jeans, and just look a little bit more polished. If you want tailored trousers, but personally, I feel like most people traveling, they're going to see friends and family back home.
Not to some
you don't
event.
have to like look super fancy, but if you want to, pack tailored trousers, that tailored trousers is a lot easier to press once you arrive at your destination, where it's very difficult to press a tailored jacket.
Yeah.
I feel like you bring a tailored jacket, some obviously wool scarves, some sweaters. Those things, won't wrinkle in your luggage. And then when you fold, in my opinion, the best way to pack is to layer your garments and then fold them all together.
I have found the same thing.
Versus folding them one by one. What you end up doing when you do that is that you're more likely to set creases.
Yeah.
So if you imagine, I guess if you think of all your t-shirts, your dress shirts, your sweaters, so on and so forth, you lay them all on top of each other.
But you start with the largest one first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Start with the largest one first. And then you lay them all on top of each other, and then you fold them on top of each other. So they end up being sort of like...
it's like a rectangle.
Yeah, it's like a rectangle, but I don't know. It's sort of like, I don't know what food. I feel like there's got to be some food. Yeah, like a burrito or something. And this way, like, yes, the innermost layer, like those might just be like your undershirts or whatever.
You don't care if those are wrinkled.
Pajamas or your whatever it is. Yes, those will get wrinkled, but like, who cares?
Yeah.
And then the outer stuff ends up being sweaters or dress shirts or flannels. Those things are less likely to get wrinkled. That to me is the best way to pack. If you want to pack a tailored jacket, I still think to me, unless you're going to like Pitiwamo or something, you probably only need to pack, you only need to bring one jacket. So to me, I would just wear that on the plane.
Yeah.
But if you want to pack a tailored jacket, in my opinion, you turn one sleeve inside out, you tuck the shoulder into the other shoulder.
Yep.
And then you softly fold it. If you can possibly layer some things in between, like, trousers or whatever, or shirts, so you don't get those hard creases. But by pulling out one sleeve and then tucking the shoulder underneath the other, you are the best you can preserving the shape of that garment.
Shoes?
Yeah, I'd stick them in plastic bags because I don't want them next to my clothing.
My wife does that.
Oh, okay.
I put them in, if I have a shoe bag, I've got a bajillion shoe bags left over.
Yeah.
And I just put them in shoe bags.
I use plastic bags, but I feel like that is not like I just imagine like Prince Charles is not like taking his shoes out of like the same bag that he carried home oranges from like Chinatown.
But you can reuse it.
Yeah. So to me, you can stuff socks in there in the empty space if you want. But I just stick those in a plastic bag.
What shoes do you bring?
For the winter, often travel. Well, nowadays, I often wear tassel loafers all the time.
Yeah.
Even in the winter. But when I go someplace where it's snowing or I expect it to be colder or possibly raining, then I usually wear chukkas. And my view on chukkas, this is a very idiosyncratic thing, but I think that chukkas look best as pebble grain or suede because there's so much expanse over the top of your foot.
Yeah, I do like them in cordovan only because I really like the waves because there's so much expanse that there's no stitching that gets in the way of the expanse. But that's very idiosyncratic. Yeah. I agree. Pebble grain and then suede and then cordovan.
Yeah.
I agree.
So to me, chukkas are really useful because especially traveling during the wintertime, if you're going someplace wet, cold, rainy, because they're boots. And the other thing is that they work across a huge range of outfits.
Yeah.
That's something that you can wear with like a top coat or a Barber jacket and jeans and a Shetland sweater. That's something that you can wear with a tailored jacket, depending on how the last looks. If it's like, if it's like a
very chiseled, not so much.
If it's like a Clark's desert boot, you're not going to want to wear that with a sport coat.
Yeah.
But my go-to is Crockett & Jones Brecon. I don't know if they still make it. But, like those like Northamptonshire kind of like chukkas work across everything.
My only thing with chukkas, specifically Alden chukkas, is that they all have a steel shank. Mm. And no matter what pass you have to go in the fast track onto the plane, they will always stop you because of that steel shank. So if you are traveling, if you have something like Clear or a TSA pass where you can just walk right through security, it's a great thing, but they will still stop you if you have Aldens because the steel shank will set that alarm off and they're like, sir, step over to the side, please.
Yeah.
And you're like, but they're Aldens.
Right.
I would never bomb this plane. Oh, did I say that word out loud? Sorry. Yeah. So Crockett & Jones, though, I don't know if they have a steel shank.
Yeah. I've never had any of those fast track things. So I've always had to go through like the
poor man's line.
Yeah. The poor man's line. So I've always had to take off my shoes. What do you wear when traveling?
I wear loafers. But
penny loafers?
Penny loafers.
Okay.
But I have learned the hard way that I don't wear Alden loafers. So I will usually wear, I don't know how to pronounce this, and shame on them for making their name difficult. Bodin and Lang.
Yeah.
Any kind of Belgian loafer. Those will never have a steel shank.
I'm sometimes I do wear tassel loafers all the time, but sometimes I don't like wearing tassel loafers or loafers in general when traveling because your feet swell in the middle of the air and they
take
get
them
really
off.
Tight. Yeah,
and you're gonna be that guy.
You're gonna be that guy
that takes off their shoe. Well, I will say that,
and then also once you land, like your feet have to like decompress.
They look like sausages.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to me like a lace-up shoe is much more comfortable.
Unlined loafers. So unlined loafers in suede, particularly, or deerskin. So Bodin and Lang, they make both. They have deerskin and they have suede, and I usually will get them slightly bigger anyway.
Okay.
Because I have experience that same thing. My feet swell in the plane.
Yeah.
And those are great to have. You just slip them off if you need to. They probably won't stop you anyway. If they do, then they're easy to slip on and off. The nice thing about those loafers is they will come with an insert because they only come in whole sizes. So you can use the insert or not, depending on where you're going. If you're going to a hot climate, again, this is for the holidays, so you're not going to a hot climate. But if you are, you can take out that insert if your feet do swell in the heat. Your feet will always swell, as you mentioned, in the airplane. So that's a great time for you to take out the lining. And those are fantastic. So that's my go-to for traveling are usually Belgian loafers.
Yeah. The other travel tip I feel is...
Want to hear the rest? Listen to the full episode and many more other exclusive episodes over on our Patreon. Visit patreon.com/Blamo to sign up and join the Blam fam. You also get access to our exclusive members-only Slack group where we chat about this and a ton of other things. So head over to patreon.com/Blamo and we'll see you there.